Tonight, the investigation into what led to the horrific explosion at a hospital in Gaza.
I grieve. I truly grieve for the families.
A wartime visit from the U.S. president amidst anger and protest.
Our kids die, nobody protect us.
Plus, an agreement to let aid into Gaza, but what kind? How fast? Manitoba swears in a new era in Canadian politics.
Today, I am wearing a headdress. Tomorrow, I will be chairing a cabinet meeting.
And as American lawmakers target some medical care for trans children, they're calling on a Canadian doctor for his expertise.
You're still choosing a side, though, in a court case.
No. The side is choosing me.
A CBC News investigation.
This is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. Hours after a short but historic visit by the U.S. president to Israel, there is movement tonight in getting humanitarian aid to Gaza, an agreement to allow in 20 trucks from Egypt. Joe Biden's visit came amid shock and disgust at the explosion Tuesday in the courtyard of a Gaza hospital, reportedly killing hundreds. Biden said he believes Israel's claim that it didn't do it, and that justice for the 1,400 Israelis slaughtered by Hamas and those held hostage must be done. Israel continues to bomb Gaza as it says it targets Hamas. A campaign Palestinian officials say has claimed some 3,500 lives amid a growing humanitarian catastrophe, making that aid so critical. Chris Brown is in Jerusalem for us again tonight. So, Chris, the U.S. president arrived in Israel at clearly a crucial moment.
Well, Joe Biden's visit was all about offering Israel support, moral support, political support, and military support, but he also advised caution. By morning daylight, the carnage at the Al-Akhi hospital in Gaza was more fully revealed, but did not answer the urgent question of who to hold responsible. The matter threatened to eclipse Joe Biden's much-anticipated first ever wartime visit to Israel. The U.S. president quickly laid out where he stood.
It appears as though it was done by the other team, not you.
Biden said U.S. officials backed the conclusions of the overnight investigation by Israel's military.
Hamas checked the reports, understood it was an Islamic Jihad rocket that had misfired, and decided to launch a global media campaign to hide what really happened.
Hagari produced a timeline, satellite images, and revealed what Israel says are intercepted conversations, usually classified, between Hamas militants. But some doubt the Israeli explanation. Dr. Fadel Naim was tending patients at the Gaza hospital when the explosion happened, killing up to 500 people, according to Hamas, with many victims gathered outside waiting for treatment or seeking safety. You don't accept that this was an Islamic Jihad rocket that...
No. I am not a specialist, I'm not woman, but I see some videos from rockets come to Israel from our side. No, we didn't see anything like that.
A key aim of Biden's visit was to provide comfort, sitting as part of Israel's war cabinet, with assurances that America's military might is nearby if other actors, namely Iran and its proxy Hezbollah, decide to help Hamas.
Justice must be done. But I caution this while you feel that rage. Don't be consumed by it.
He cautioned Israel needs objectives for any upcoming ground offensive or risk triggering a wider regional war, and that its ongoing attacks, which have killed more than 3,300 Palestinians, come with great risk.
Palestinian people are suffering greatly as well. We mourn the loss of innocent Palestinian lives like the entire world.
Wide range operation.
This Israeli political commentator says he understands Biden's caution.
But it doesn't mean the Israeli army is not going to go into Gaza, or it's going to allow Hamas, to continue controlling the Gaza Strip. It's simply impossible.
One possibly significant result of Biden's visit, Israel says it will permit food, water, and medicine to enter Gaza from Egypt. The UN says the humanitarian situation there is now catastrophic.
And Chris, let's talk a little bit more about that agreement to get aid into Gaza. There were some leaked details tonight.
Well, on his flight back home, Joe Biden said that Egypt has agreed to let the first 20 truckloads of aid through that stubbornly closed border crossing at Rafah. However, Adrian, he didn't have anything to say about the possibility of letting foreign nationals in Gaza leave.
All right, Chris Brown in Jerusalem tonight. Thanks, Chris. As you heard, Joe Biden urged Israel not to be consumed by rage. But as Susan Ormston shows us, in the wake of that explosion at that Gaza hospital, rage at Israel is rising across the region.
In Ramallah, in the occupied West Bank, shuttered shops, marking a general strike and 3 days of mourning. Here, Palestinians are defiant and resolute. They still believe one thing, that Israel is to blame for the explosion near the Gaza hospital on Tuesday.
I didn't sleep since yesterday.
You didn't sleep?
No. No, because how can we be normal? How can we sleep? How can we eat? How can we drink water?
Haneen Farge's life is on hold with this war.
The Israelis say it wasn't them. They say it was Islamic Jihad.
It's always like this. They always do this. They said we never did this, but they are the one who did this.
No matter what Israel says or how it defends itself, that it had nothing to do with the hospital strike yesterday, this crowd in Ramallah doesn't believe it. There's calls for protests like this over the next few days.
Already rippling across the Arab world, in Tunisia, in Jordan, and Egypt, showing solidarity with Gaza. In Lebanon, clashes around the U.S. Embassy. Washington being drawn in further to the wider conflict. Palestinian anger not only directed at Israel, but also the U.S. president, says this Palestinian American in Ramallah.
Our kids die, nobody protect us. What do you think about that? America protect the Jew.
This on the day that Biden arrived in Israel, saying it was the other team which caused so much carnage outside that hospital.
If we are two teams and the Americans are on that Israeli team, so what do we have to talk about? He will always be with his team, regardless of what they tell him, regardless of all the lies that Netanyahu is telling him. He's siding by Israel.
It's not lost on the Arab street that the U.S.'s role in this war is expanding.
This is unfortunately hurting the image of the United States. It cannot be a mediator, it cannot be fair, it cannot be supporting international law.
In Ramallah, several clashes. 2 teenagers lighting fires were shot dead by Israeli forces, say Palestinian authorities. Every day that Gaza is pinned down, deteriorating, Palestinians' fury grows louder. And the facts, if unearthed, are reburied under the mound of anger and history.
Susan, Joe Biden has clearly left the region, but Israel, meanwhile, still has this enormous military buildup next to Gaza.
Yeah, but the military is not talking about that directly anymore. At news conference, when they're asked, they say we're simply not talking about it, period. That comes at the same time as this round of diplomacy, the UK's Prime Minister coming tomorrow, and a refocus on getting some aid possibly into Gaza. We don't know whether Israel is being held back, but we do know that the global attention is still very much here. And the president is giving a rare Oval Office address tomorrow to his country, talking about Ukraine and Israel.
All right, Susan Ormston in Jerusalem tonight. Thank you. Now, the United States vetoed a UN resolution drafted by Brazil calling for a pause in the Gaza conflict and the opening of humanitarian corridors.
The United States is disappointed this resolution made no mention of Israel's rights of self-defense.
The U.S. representative said the resolution was premature, urging the council to let intensive diplomacy in the region play out. The council rejected another resolution calling for a pause on Monday. That one was drafted by Russia. Now, the war in the Middle East was discussed at a meeting today between Vladimir Putin and China's President Xi Jinping. The two met in person in Beijing. Putin later told the press that the growing number of international conflicts strengthens Russian-Chinese cooperation. This visit is rare for Putin. It's believed to be only his second time abroad since the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. And as Moscow and Beijing draw ever closer, lawmakers in Washington remain far apart from each other. The U.S. House of Representatives is still without a speaker. And as Katie Simpson shows us now, the political chaos is leading some to consider an unprecedented solution.
You're voting for me?
Jim Jordan is refusing to give up.
The country needs the House of Representatives operating. I think it's best if it operates with a Republican speaker.
The Republican speaker nominee and Donald Trump ally is hoping the third vote will be the charm. After losing his second bid for the job in what at times became an unruly display.
House to come to order.
Jordan kept his head down as his support cratered away.
Rogers of Kentucky.
22 Republicans refused to back him, 2 more than in the first vote.
Jeffries.
Pleas for bipartisan support in a time of crisis failing to change minds.
I know he will stand up for Israel, and I know in that area we can come together. That crisis is on us now. We may get a request almost any time to act.
Democrats will never back Jordan, mostly because of his active involvement in Trump's attempts to overturn the last election.
Mr. Speaker,
they openly mocked his loss on the floor.
No amount of election denying is going to take away from those vote totals.
Jordan and his allies are now ramping up their pressure campaign to try to generate momentum.
We'll see what happens after this. I'm sure we're going to have another Festivus airing of grievances session, and then we'll discuss it.
One idea up for discussion, giving additional powers to Patrick McHenry, the acting speaker, known as the Speaker Pro Temp.
When there's a vacancy in the office of Speaker, I think the Speaker Pro Tem not only can act, he or she should act, much like the way a Vice President can or should act in a vacancy in the office of President.
Never before has an acting speaker been given that kind of authority. It's a sign of desperation, a recognition of the urgent need for lawmakers to get back to work. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Back here, the Prime Minister is criticizing Alberta Premier Danielle Smith's pitch to pull her province out of the Canada Pension Plan. In an open letter, Trudeau wrote, Alberta's withdrawal would weaken the pensions of millions of seniors and hardworking people in Alberta and right across the country. The harm it would cause is undeniable. Danielle Smith responded, accusing Trudeau of stoking fear.
I think he's trying to overstate it, to make some kind of political point, and quite frankly, I just don't think that that's helpful. I think we should allow for the process to play out, let Albertans decide.
Smith went on to say that Alberta has a constitutional right to manage its own pensions, but the matter would have to go to a referendum before any changes are made. And a historic moment for Manitoba's new premier. Wab Kinew was officially sworn in today. He's now the first First Nations premier of a province. Cam McIntosh with the big changes he's promising and the ones he's already made.
A war bonnet symbolizing leadership placed on his head by his uncle, a residential school survivor. Wab Kinew took his oath.
I, Wabanakwit Kinew, do solemnly swear that I will
swearing allegiance to the crown as Manitoba's 25th premier, but also promising change in a province where tensions between the government and Indigenous communities have always existed.
We are one people, one Manitoba, who are going to build one future.
As an Anishinaabe, Kinew is the first First Nations premier of a Canadian province, after the Manitoba NDP won a majority earlier this month, largely on promises to reform healthcare and make life more affordable.
People in this province came together to decide that you wanted a change in government, you wanted us to focus on healthcare and affordability, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
But reconciliation will also be a top priority, Kinew promising Manitoba's Indigenous leaders a greater voice.
Our government will recognize you for what you are, the leaders of governments.
His swearing in today leaned heavily into the symbolism of a First Nations man ascending to the role of First Minister.
It really is Manitoba's true act of reconciliation, and I want you to think of it that way. I want you to think of the fact that we are now entering a new phase.
Kinew has also appointed one of Canada's most diverse cabinets. gender balanced, largely racialized, including a non-binary deputy premier.
It sends a clear message to Manitobans that everyone is valued, that everyone deserves respect.
Kinew says his government will work to benefit all Manitobans.
Today, I am wearing a headdress. Tomorrow, I will be chairing a cabinet meeting.
Soon to face some immense challenges. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Canadians are noticing their favorite products are shrinking, but their prices remain the same.
How could they do that to us? You feel upset, you feel deceived.
Now, calls to be more upfront when downsizing. An iconic Canadian stadium dumps its seats. Fans are not impressed. And a cat's unusual workout routine has TikTokers gripped.
Peaches is definitely a character.
We're back in 2. Scotiabank says it's cutting 3% of its global workforce, so that's roughly 2,700 jobs. The bank says it needs to streamline operations in a challenging financial environment due to higher interest rates and more people banking online. There is a push tonight for more transparency around grocery prices, specifically when companies shrink the size of their products but charge you the same old price. Sophia Harris went shopping to see what she could find.
After Ellen Newell bought 2 boxes of the same cereal for the same price, she noticed something was not the same.
This one's taller, it's skinnier.
The taller box, new packaging. The shorter box, old packaging, being phased out. But taller doesn't mean more. The new box has almost 12% less cereal.
How could they do that to us? You feel upset, you feel deceived.
It's called shrinkflation, when a company shrinks a product, but not the price or packaging, making it hard to detect.
If I had noticed this in the store, I absolutely would not have bought this box.
Shrinkflation isn't new, but it's getting more attention as Canadians struggle with high grocery prices.
Everything seems to be more expensive now, and by simply reducing the size of their products, people maybe feel like they're being tricked a little bit.
CBC News went grocery shopping and found several cases of shrinkflation where the price hadn't changed. This box of crackers has shrunk by 10%, this mac and cheese by 11%, and this cake mix is now 13% lighter. Often companies say they shrink a product to offset rising costs, but there's a growing call for them to be more transparent about it.
The average person, times are a little tough, and they need to be aware of where their money is going. And if their money's getting them a little less, it's something they should know about. You're officially getting taxed on your ice cream.
Neil Chohan makes TikTok videos exposing shrinkflation.
Have you noticed that Ben & Jerry's ice cream seems smaller?
This is his latest target, but he applauds Ben & Jerry's for acknowledging online it shrunk its ice cream by 5% to combat higher supply costs.
I think it's a great first step.
This consumer rights advocate says one solution is for Ottawa to mandate companies alert customers when they shrink a product.
They could have a specific label that says that the amount, the quantity has been reduced.
Brazil already makes companies note recent weight changes on product labels. France has pledged to do the same.
We are in solution mode to bring relief to Canadians.
Facing pressure over high food prices, Ottawa says it will investigate shrinkflation, but no action plan as of yet.
The next day, I went back to Walmart, and
as for Newell, when she realized the older boxes had more cereal, she bought several before they disappeared. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
Every year, Canada sends thousands of horses to Japan to be slaughtered for food. It's a lucrative industry worth millions, but as Marina von Stackelberg shows us, some say it needs to stop.
But you can see from here that from behind a fence, Caitlin Mitchell's animal rights charity films horses loaded onto planes destined for plates. Bred specifically for their meat, the draft horses are flown from Winnipeg and Edmonton across the world to Japan, then fattened up, slaughtered, and eaten as a delicacy, fresh and raw. The journey legally is allowed to last up to 28 hours.
We know that these horses experience extreme stress. They're denied food, water, and rest. they're at risk of injury. We know that they collapse at times during this journey.
Nearly 2 years ago, the Prime Minister instructed Canada's Agriculture Minister to ban the export of live horses overseas for slaughter. But that hasn't happened. So now 2 different private members' bills have been introduced in Parliament, hoping to ban the practice.
I wish the government would have acted through regulations, but it seems that they prefer to let senators and MPs do the work.
Canada exports between 2,000 and 3,000 live horses annually, worth nearly $20 million a year. Those who inspect the process say it is done humanely. These videos of an audit show how government inspectors enforce the regulations.
The animals have plenty of room to move around. They have very good ventilation.
Some say the push to ban the practice has less to do with welfare and more to do with people's feelings about eating horse.
I have a hard time understanding why it's okay to eat cattle or to eat sheep, chickens, or pigs, but horses now have this special category. And it is very much a cultural thing, but over 3 billion people around the world actually consume horse meat.
Whenever I speak to people about this practice, they are absolutely shocked and appalled.
Mitchell thinks the only reason horses are still being shipped across the world to be eaten is because Canadians don't know it's happening. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Tennessee lawmakers are tightening restrictions on transgender care, and they're relying on a Toronto psychologist to do it.
The problem besetting youth today isn't just kids with gender issues.
Why he's opted to testify. As flu season approaches, we explain which vaccines make sense for seniors, but it may cost you.
Why the government is not covering this.
But first,
congratulations.
New Canadians are choosing to take their oath virtually, but some critics say that should stop.
The worthwhile things in person should never be replaced.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. After decades of Jays games, this is the sad end for scores of old seats from Toronto's Rogers Centre. That mountain of blue plastic and metal was spotted in a junkyard north of the city as the former Sky Dome undergoes more major renovations. The Jays organization did say it was able to save some for posterity. Former Governor General Adrian Clarkson is among those calling on Ottawa to end virtual citizenship ceremonies. They became an option during the pandemic, but as Rafi Boudjikanian tells us, there's no replacing taking the oath in person.
Welcome to our Canadian family.
Traditional citizenship ceremonies are built on shared experience, but Kimberly Simon says she still got that when hers happened online.
I cried, actually. So it wasn't about us being in a room. We still got that connection. You saw all types of people, like from their homes, and that was phenomenal.
Congratulations.
After the COVID-19 pandemic drove the ceremonies online, the government says that option is now more popular. In the last half of 2022, more than 90% of new Canadians took their oaths that way. But critics say it's no substitute for the real thing.
I really believe that helping people come to Canada and interact with Canada in the most ways possible helps them become better community members.
The son of immigrants, Calgary's former mayor says some of his most meaningful days in office involved presiding over citizenship ceremonies. Now, more than 1,500 people signed a petition urging Ottawa to dump the virtual option, including former Governor General Adrian Clarkson.
The worthwhile things in person should never be replaced by anything online.
Clarkson says over the years, foreign governments have told her they're jealous of Canada's traditional ceremonies.
Citizenship is not just about administration. Citizenship is about exercising all your rights and privileges and also taking part in the social fabric of your country.
The immigration minister says he prefers in-person ceremonies, but says that the ones online provide a benefit.
We need options that are flexible, especially in rural regions, and we've certainly heard it from rural colleagues and from people that don't want to move 100 or 200 kilometers to do an in-person citizenship ceremony.
The department says it's working through its citizenship backlog. It launched a consultation on ceremonies earlier this year and is now weighing its options. Rafi Bujikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
All right, now let's go deeper into the stories shaping our world. Tonight, what seniors need to know about vaccines to protect them from viruses like flu and COVID. But first, as U.S. states fight to stop the medical transitioning for minors, they have an ally from this country. This is the breakdown. A Canadian psychologist helped states like Tennessee justify laws against gender-affirming care.
These kids in general are not better off transitioning.
James Cantor is a gay, self-described liberal whose work supports many U.S. lawmakers, including some opposed to homosexuality.
An abomination.
I don't pretend that, their religious goals are the same as my scientific goals.
Few Canadians know that he's playing a key role in the medical and political controversy raging in the U.S. Jonathan Montpetit from our investigative unit breaks down Cantor's impact and the reasons he gives for what he does.
Between angry messages in the streets and hardline conservatives in power,
Now in session.
trans youth in America are at the center of a political firestorm.
As a trans minor, it's really disheartening to see.
I-7716 names.
Nearly 80 laws passed this year alone.
I move to roll to the hill of the minutes.
No objection. Roll to the hill. Next minute, Ms. Clerk.
And in the courtroom battles over these laws, a controversial Canadian psychologist.
In the video recorded deposition of Dr. James Cantor,
these kids in general are not better off transitioning gender.
In this strip mall off the Chapman Highway on the outskirts of Knoxville, Tennessee, is South Press Cafe, where owner Jocelyn Fish runs a queer-friendly space in a state that's passed more anti-LGBTQ laws than anywhere else in the country.
It's about legislating trans people out of existing and public spaces. It's about criminalizing it, and it's also about inciting fear in us.
One of the latest measures, a ban on what's called gender-affirming care, treatments that studies suggest can help trans youth with depression and suicidal thoughts. This Knoxville family, the Bats, can now no longer get medical gender care for their trans child Zane anywhere in the state.
It's like if another child my age needed life-saving health care and it was denied to them, people would lose their minds. And get health care as a minor.
Zane's parents asked that we conceal their child's identity, given the threats that trans people face in Tennessee. Chrissy and Daniel say before the ban went into effect, they were having long conversations with doctors and therapists about Zane's gender care, a process, they say, that made Zane much happier.
We just want to live our lives and make the best decisions for our kids that we possibly can based on professional guidance.
Gender-affirming care for trans youth can include a range of treatments, from new pronouns to puberty blockers, and for some older teens, hormone therapy. It's an approach to treating gender dysphoria that has the backing of every major medical association in the U.S. But in Tennessee, Republican lawmakers expressed deep mistrust of the medical consensus around gender care.
I had always believed in conservative values the way I was brought up.
House Representative Sabi Kumar, himself a retired surgeon, was one of the sponsors of the bill that banned gender-affirming care.
From my understanding, major American medical associations, the American Academy of Pediatrics, American College of Physicians, American Medical Association, they all say...
American Society of Endocrinology.
They all say the same thing, that the gender care is safe, it's effective for treating gender dysphoria. You're a physician. Why not trust the professional bodies of your profession?
Because of the ideological contamination of these societies.
Why is this such an important issue for Tennessee Republicans?
Conservative values are based on God, family, country, and the values that America was founded on. Homosexuality in the biblical scripture is an abomination. And our constituents in majority believe that. So because we are following those biblical and godly values, that is reflected in the legislation that we pass.
But when it comes to defending these anti-trans laws in court, conservative states call upon a different kind of authority. Expert witnesses who question mainstream medical opinion about what's best for trans youth. One of those experts is Toronto psychologist James Cantor, who has testified in a wide range of transgender cases, from pronouns to school sports to gender care.
The problem besetting youth today isn't just kids with gender issues. It's the entire generation of youth who have been raised on social media. But a lot of people, what the situation looks like, are using trans status to escape their insecurities about their, pending adulthood. I don't advocate for any particular policy. Really, what these people need is the therapy for dealing with the situation that they're in.
Cantor says he is just a scientist, willing to share his take on the research with whoever asks. In court, he cites contested studies that claim the increase in teens identifying as trans is the product of social contagion, vulnerable teen girls who are trying to fit in.
Is the implication of what you're saying that somebody says to you, regardless of what age they may be, I'm a trans woman, I'm a trans man, your response is skepticism?
It depends on the context. If I'm being asked within a therapeutic situation with a client, I am pretty much by definition, being asked by a person who is unhappy with the position that they're in, and my job is to coach, to push them a little bit, to help them, feel comfortable questioning themselves and approaching things in new and different ways that they hadn't before. So it is sometimes uncomfortable for a person. That's the role of psychotherapy.
But some have questioned whether Cantor has the relevant experience to determine what's best for trans teens.
And you personally have never treated any child or adolescent for gender dysphoria, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Earlier in his career, Cantor worked at Toronto Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, CAMH, alongside psychologists like Kenneth Zucker, who has argued that children should be encouraged to accept their sex at birth. In the U.S.,
in the light of this data, I must agree with a noted researcher from Toronto, Dr. Ken Zucker.
A man who identifies
conservative lobby groups pushing anti-trans legislation are often citing those former CAMH psychologists.
Such prominent figures as Stephen Levine, Kenneth Zucker, Paul McHugh, and James Cantor, among others. These doctors are giants in the field.
When these groups started coming to me a year and a half ago to ask if I, would share what I know in court settings, that was how they introduced themselves to me. Dr. Cantor, we probably disagree on every issue under the planet, under the sun, except this one. Well, to me, is okay, so we will work together on this one. That's what a liberal is supposed to do.
The bans on gender care are forcing families with trans children to make difficult decisions. In Tennessee, some have already packed up and left. Those who can't leave must now travel hours out of state for treatment.
What would you say to these people who are really feeling the effects of a law that you have kind of gone to court and helped defend?
First, I hesitate to say exactly that I defend a law so much as I defend the science. What a government does with the science is what a government does with the science, and I always want any government, whether the US, Europe, Canada, to make any decision based on the best science available.
You're still choosing a side, though, in a court case.
No, the side is choosing me. If my read of the science were different, then it would be the other side that hired me.
You could say no, right? I mean, like if they came to you, said, Dr. Cantor, we would like you to testify. You could say, no, I'd rather not.
Yeah, and that was a tough question that I had to ask myself when they did start asking. Ultimately, the decision I came to myself was that I'm a scientist. My job, I will give the science to whoever it is that asks. Once I came in, I just took it over.
And so many are asking Cantor for his science that he told us he has more than doubled his income this year.
What it boils down to is that
we and other families who are trying to support our kids are following the advice of actual medical professionals. We have talked to trans people. We have, we are a part of the community, and we have been very conservative in our approach to doing things. No one is going out and saying, you know what, I want to be trans, I'm going to go get surgery, and it just happening. There are no parents that say, you know what, I wish my kid was trans, let's go get surgery. That's not happening. It's just not anywhere. And so people like James Cantor and others like him are pushing a narrative and claiming that things are happening that just aren't.
Zane's parents have chosen to stay in Tennessee and lobby against the ban. Their family-run bakery raises money for local LGBTQ causes. Staying will mean frequent travel out of state for Zane's gender care and dealing with a hostile political climate on a daily basis. But Zane is undaunted.
For me, the choice to stay and fight, I believe that anyone should be able to do anything they want as long as it's not hurting anyone.
Zane's younger brother, Charlie.
I'm glad that I can help and defend people who I love, especially.
It's in spaces like South Press Cafe where it can feel a little less lonely to be trans in Tennessee.
Jonathan, watching that, it makes me wonder if experts like James Cantor are playing a similar role here.
Well, the governments of New Brunswick and Saskatchewan both recently introduced measures that would force teens to get parental consent before changing their pronouns at school. Now, these measures are being challenged before the courts by civil rights groups who say they are unconstitutional. New Brunswick hasn't yet indicated who they intend to call as a witness in its case. The government of Saskatchewan, though, did call upon an American psychologist who is popular in conservative circles to help defend its policy at an injunction hearing last month. Now, of course, Saskatchewan lost that decision, but Premier Scott Moe has indicated he intends to use the notwithstanding clause to make sure his policy goes into effect.
All right, Jonathan Monpetit, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, older Canadians are most at risk this flu and COVID season, but which vaccines are best to get? We explain next. This is the season to take care of your breathing.
I am at a very high risk.
You've got COVID, the flu, and more to contend with.
I know it's a bit of a labyrinth, if you will.
And older Canadians are especially vulnerable. So we asked Lauren Pelly to break down what seniors need to know about the various vaccines on offer.
As the temperature dips and more respiratory viruses circulate, medical experts say seniors remain among those most at risk of dire outcomes. During last year's flu season, for example, roughly half of all outbreaks were in long-term care homes. And when it comes to COVID-19, 9 in 10 deaths so far have been among Canadians aged 60 and up. So here's what older Canadians need to know.
We'll just have you in here.
Physicians say vaccines can be a key way for seniors to protect themselves from serious illness.
Seniors tend to be more vulnerable in cold and flu season because their immune systems are not as strong as younger people.
There are 4 key vaccines available for seniors this fall for COVID, influenza, bacterial pneumonia, and respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV. Let's start with COVID. Those shots have been updated to better match circulating virus strains. Health Canada has already approved mRNA vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna, and a third option from Novavax is expected too. A second key vaccine, the annual flu shot. Those doses are now rolling out as well, plus some provinces offer enhanced versions for high-risk seniors, which offer even better protection. Number 3, there are also multiple approved shots to protect against bacterial pneumonia. The condition happens when certain bacteria get into the lungs. The most common is pneumococcal pneumonia, caused by Streptococcus bacteria. Canadian data suggests the death rate is typically up to 7% and even higher among the elderly. Number 4 on the list is new this year, Canada's first vaccine for RSV. It was approved in August for adults 60 and up to combat a virus that can lead to serious lung infections. And while RSV hospital admissions among seniors happen less often than for other diseases like COVID or flu, recent U.S. data showed they're typically linked to more severe disease and ICU stays.
It's only approved for the elderly.
This pharmacist says with so many vaccine options to protect seniors this fall, some Canadians might be confused about what's available.
So if you have questions regarding coverage on different vaccines, especially the ones for respiratory illness, it would be very important for you to have a dialogue with your pharmacist. Your local pharmacist can typically guide you through this. I know it's a bit of a labyrinth, if you will.
The challenge now for many seniors could be affording some of these shots. COVID shots are free for all Canadians, and basic flu shots are too, though in some areas you might have to pay for enhanced options. When it comes to pneumonia shots, eligibility for a free vaccine depends on the province and the product. And for the brand new RSV vaccine, experts expect most seniors will have to pay out of pocket. Bradford, Ontario resident Walter Armstrong already has asthma and wants to avoid catching RSV.
I am at a very high risk if I was to get RSV. If any complication with that would, be the equivalent of a death sentence.
But he was shocked to learn he'd be shouldering the cost of more than $200 for the new vaccine. Tough for Armstrong on a tight monthly budget.
I won't have it this month, I won't have it next month, next year, never. So
his question now,
why the government, is not covering this at $256 when we know if a person is hospitalized for up to 5 weeks and on a ventilator, the cost is tens of thousands of dollars.
I just wanted to check where you're at with things.
This geriatrician hopes the RSV shot is eventually covered, but in the meantime, he worries those cost barriers could discourage some of Canada's most vulnerable.
A lot of people right now can't make ends meet, and so how are they going to even undergo this vaccination?
Medical experts say the bottom line for seniors is get all 4 vaccines, if you can, to give yourself the best shot at staying healthy.
So, Lauren, there's a lot here to think about, right? We're talking 4 vaccines for seniors, potentially all at the same time. Can they take them all at the same time? Can you help us navigate this?
Absolutely. Well, some of these vaccines are safe to get in the same appointment, the COVID shot and the flu shot, for example. But some of this can be case by case. So, it depends on when you last had COVID or your last vaccine. So I really want to say to people, talk to your doctor, talk to a pharmacist about what works for you. It's also worth asking when you get one of these shots, especially the new COVID shot, make sure you know what you're getting. Ask your pharmacist, whoever's giving it to you, exactly which one you're getting so you know that it is the newest one, if that's what you're looking for. Adrienne?
All right, Lauren Pelly, as always, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, Peaches the cat is making waves on TikTok.
He meows a bit and protests a little bit, but he's great.
Putting in the work to shed a few pounds, his viral workout routine is next in our moment. Well, believe it or not, this Edmonton cat is swimming his way to TikTok stardom. Peaches, of course, the cat, is diabetic. His owner was looking for a way to help him shed some weight, and that's when they both hit the pool. So a TikTok account was made, videos were posted, and the next thing you know, Peaches was kitty paddling his way to viral fame. His workout routine is our moment.
Peach is a 13-year-old domestic short hair. He was diagnosed with diabetes.
Good job.
And the vet told us that there was a chance his diabetes could go into remission if we were able to get his weight down.
Ready?
What we do is we pick him up from the bench and take him to the farthest point in the pool and then let him swim towards the bench. He meows a bit and protests a little bit, but he's great.
Yeah.
We also have a hydro treadmill, and he's actually doing really, really well in there.
He lost a whole kilo, gained a little bit of it back, but he looks a lot thinner. I created an account for Peach and started posting his videos from the pool. I think our most viewed video has 10.5 million views, and he was on the Jumbotron at the Oilers game last Saturday.
Come on, he's just been a joy at the pool. Peaches is definitely a character.
Come on, go there. He's quite vocal in how much he doesn't like the pool. Yeah, it's been really good. It's hilarious, actually.
Yeah, we hear you, Peaches. We know you. We can hear you don't like it that much. But apparently he's lost so much weight, he's starting to need less insulin. So that's great. And can I just say, at a time when the world feels so hard, thank you, Peaches. We need a little brain scrubbing. From all of us at The National, thanks for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.